Hello, people. Hello. Welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. Well, for Chelsea fans, yes, of course, we being a Chelsea, mainly a Chelsea kind of focused channel, but of course, for everyone to see, it's not been a great week, right? I have to kind of start with that. But before anything, we have to definitely pass on our condolences and definitely our thoughts go to Bipin Rawat, yes, the former chief of defense of India. Unfortunately, him, his wife, and his officers, passed away in a helicopter crash yesterday. So all our thoughts go with him and his family. Hopefully, things kind of come to normalcy with with the Indian Army. But of course, there's a lot of things which are kind of not in our hands. So yes, again, thoughts go out to him. And of course, in Europe, a lot of people complaining about COVID cases again. So hopefully things get better soon. I hope it's not as bad as last time around. And yes, even Spurs kind of announcing a few cases. So hopefully this time it will not be as long. And yes, everyone, please do take care of yourselves wherever you are. But let us make the environment a little bit light. I probably start with a quick fact here. And yes, as I say that, let me actually welcome a few people in the chat. Yes, they've been waiting, and sorry about the delay. And we've been just trying to wait for the panel and of course setting things up. Hopefully we're not too late. And of course, Eugene, always here to support the channel. Big up, Eugene, a great channel that he has, of course, and TFFT as well. Thank you. And of course, for our Indian viewers, today's discussion will be primarily in English. I hope that is fine with you. Of course, you can always put on your closed captions on and listen to it. But definitely, that'll be a great discussion. So stick on till the end. And of course, Insane Football Talks. I've been to this channel as well a couple of days ago. A very good channel growing. So please do subscribe if anyone is watching. And here we have also Brad. Big up, Brad. Big up, yes, of course. And to you as well. Definitely a lot of discussion around a lot of clubs, including Leicester. You never know. And of course, Arsenal. Luca is here. We are good. Thanks for joining. And yes, coming to the quick stat. Does anyone know in chat who is Chelsea's top goal scorer starting from 2020-21 season? Like starting from the beginning of last season, who was Chelsea's top goal scorer? And it's a positive. Yes, I know Chelsea, a lot of negative going on in the last couple of days, but this is definitely a positive. And before we get to the answer, let me actually welcome the panel here. And first of all, of course, we have Anvay from Front 3 Podcast. How are you, Anvay?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Ankit?
Great, great. So obviously, for people who don't know, Anvay has been on the podcast, I think, a couple of times on Almighty Blues FC. So welcome back to the channel. And Front 3 Podcast is, very good channel themselves. It comprises of, I think, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester United fans. But today, Anvay is representing them. So yes, definitely looking forward to this chat. But Anvay, all I can say is Liverpool, congratulations, and let's move on from there. I don't want to kind of talk too many positives about them because we are coming to the Chelsea positive. And secondly, we have of course a special fan today that is a Leeds fan in Carl. Carl, welcome to Almighty Blues FC, brother. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and especially hello to everyone from India as well. I'm living in Scotland as representing the UK, so no, I'm happy to be part of this.
Absolutely. And of course, I've listened to Carl numerous times on many streams. He knows his stuff. I think he's also fond of a trivia. So, Carl, before getting the third panel, I'll possibly ask you itself, right? As in this question: who was Chelsea's top goal scorer starting 2021 season?
I'm going to say Mason Mount because I think because Werner and was not a top goal scorer, so I think Mason Mount was probably the top goal scorer for Chelsea.
Interesting. As I say that or hear that rather, let me actually add in a Chelsea fan. Ameya, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC. How are you doing, brother?
Yep, I'm pretty good. Sorry about the delay, guys. I actually got held up. It started raining all of a sudden. So, got delayed. But yeah, I'm here and I'm looking forward to a chat. Great to see Anvay and Carl as well. So, hopefully, we have a very good chat. And usually, that's the case on this channel. So, I'm looking forward to the stream.
Yes, absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. But again, Carl actually made an attempt to answer Mason Mount as the highest scorer. I'm assuming you know the answer. You know what the answer is?
It's Werner, right?
It is Werner. Yes, absolutely. And of course, As in that can only be positive. Like for everyone thinking about Werner, like he is Chelsea's top scorer and we were champions of Europe not very far back. Again, just a positive, throwing it out there to make the session light to begin with. But yes, we cannot avoid what happened. That's something that as Chelsea fans or as football fans in general, like that's a fact. Like we have to kind of live with it. And of course, like for neutrals, it was a great match. The Chelsea match, of course, in Champions League, and of course the West Ham game last weekend. But we will obviously be starting with Champions League because yes, 6 match days are over. That was, I think, a fantastic match day. Like just as a neutral, like again as Chelsea fan, I didn't like it, but it is what it is. But again, talking about trivia's and things like that, right? Chelsea, again, for people watching, like I know we covered the review and we did cover in that possibly as well, but this is a fact that needs to be repeated. We actually were highest scorers in our group and the team which conceded the least amount of goals in our group. But we still finished second. That is what kind of is the result of performing so well against Juventus and whatnot. And I'm sure, like every Chelsea fan, I don't know if people in the chat agree or not, every Chelsea fan, including me, I think, we have a certain kind of feeling right now. And this is exactly how I feel in my view.
It's not fair. It's not fair that like this is even something that I think anyone has to go through.
Anyway, I had to kind of get that out of the window first and foremost. But yeah, as in definitely, as in people watching, again, do smash the like so that we have more people watching. And yes, a lot of discussion, the Champions League, the Premier League, and whatnot is what we're going to have. So definitely, smash the like, subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. And of course, check out the description. And we didn't mention that about Ameya. Ameya has a great channel as well that he is a presenter on, that CFC Chats. And that's something that I'm assuming people know about. If you don't, do check it out. It's high time. And of course, Carl has a podcast that he's part of as well. So follow him on Twitter and of course Anway on the Front Three podcast. But yes, as I say that, I think CFC is in the house. Barca in the mud, I can't stand them. And yes, we'll get to that. We'll get to all the groups. And of course, Krishna loved that. Of course, being a Manchester United fan that Krishna is, he'll love it. And of course, as Chelsea fans, unlike say a certain Klopp, I know Anway will kind of take notice here. We kind of accept our mistakes and kind of move on, right? And that's what I would say. Like again, but talking about Chelsea, like again, Ameya, I don't know. Like I know. First of all, kudos. We have to definitely give kudos to Juventus. Their gameplay, their strategy was bang on in the Champions League. Whatever they may be seventh in the Serie A or whatever, it doesn't matter. They are basically what a team should do in the Champions League, and that just proved it. But in a quick line, if you have to say, I know we've reviewed enough, but Ameya, what was it that was missing in Chelsea in the last couple of weeks, both in the Premier League and Champions League?
I mean, first off, of course, we've had a lot of injury issues, and on top of that, for some reason, our defenders have forgotten how to defend. I mean, they can't hold a simple high line for some reason. So there was a lot of rotation as well. We have to take that into consideration. But yeah, I think I'm pretty sure that once the players start returning one by one, I think we will be going back to performing like we did earlier. So I mean, I don't think it's panic stations yet, but it's of course disheartening to watch our team not win those games, which we expect to win, honestly. I think you're muted, Ankit.
Yeah, I just did the exact thing that's supposed to be done at the beginning of the stream. But yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with you there. And again, just looking forward, like let's kind of move on quickly from Chelsea. Don't want to kind of stick on too much into it. But yeah, definitely. As in, we'll go group by group quickly, right? So Group A. Group A obviously didn't have, I think, too much into it on match day 6. I think obviously it was Leipzig. They were kind of having already ball in their court, but they did, surprise everyone by beating Man City in a way, right? The team in form. But Kyle Walker getting the red card towards the end kind of didn't allow Man City to come back in the game. Again, sticking to you, Ameya, you think that is possibly the tactic for Man City to rile them up, one way of beating them?
I mean, yeah, that definitely is one of the tactics. But, I mean, we proved it in the Champions League final that you can remain calm and just purely play them out of the park. So, I mean, it's not impossible. And they still have the same weaknesses as last season, which is the striker position. I would say they don't have someone who bags those 25, 30 goals a season. So I think there are a couple of weaknesses, but yeah, I think I mean, honestly, everyone expected City and PSG to go through from that group, so I can't say I'm too surprised about the standings. And as PSG finished second, we can't draw either of them because we can't draw teams from the same federation. So I'm glad that we're not drawing either of those teams. I mean, there are other teams I know, but I'm just happy that as a Chelsea fan that we're not going to be drawing either of those two teams.
Absolutely. And that kind of puts me to the next question, because I think I'll throw it to Anway. Anway, being a Liverpool fan, and again, Liverpool, I know, topped the group with all kinds of records. I think one of the first teams, I think from England, who kind of beat all the 6 teams, right? If I'm not wrong, in recent years. I think possibly ever, if I'm not wrong. Again, do correct me in the chat. Again, people in the chat, there is a poll out there. Do take the poll as well, and we'll come to that towards the end of the stream. But Anway, now Liverpool can definitely draw PSG. That's a possibility. And I actually kind of have a gut feel that's going to happen. If that does happen, again, Messi, we saw he kind of came to form in this game without Neymar, who's injured. He has possibly more of free roles. So I don't know, him versus Salah. Liverpool, if they draw PSG, do you still fancy Liverpool? Honestly, with the neutral hat.
So out of all the teams that we can potentially draw, I think PSG are the ones that stand out. But at the same time, I think Messi's come to Anfield and he has lost 4-0, if you all don't remember that game. And yeah, I mean, honestly, the current form that we're going with and the team that we have, I'm slightly frightened, but at the same time, I'm not completely scared because Klopp knows what he's doing. And at the same time, the team is in a good form. So yeah, I think PSG versus Liverpool will be an extremely good game to watch, especially in the round of 16.
Yeah. And then again, I have to definitely give Liverpool something. And obviously we'll move to kind of Group B as well. But before talking about Liverpool, right? As in, obviously, I'll have to talk about one of my kind of soft-hearted kind of teams, and that is Milan, right? AC Milan. Like AC Milan, honestly disappointed in the Champions League overall, and of course Porto were kind of naive, I would say, with that red card that they got. But Atletico Madrid, for me, I don't know. Atletico Madrid kind of showed that basically they thrive when it comes to basically dark football. Those tactics. When things kind of go against them, and when they are kind of playing a rough game with red cards going left, right, center, and they can really play that game really well. But I don't know, like Carl, for you, Atletico Madrid, I know that that's possibly their best tactic in terms of winning. But with those dark tactics, would you call them the dark horses of the Champions League? Because they are just about maybe coming in form. Like that game proved that.
I don't know, to be quite honest. I don't think in my own mind, no, not with the tactics they have been playing under Diego Simeone for the last nearly decade now. And I look at how last season that was it. That was the only chance they could, if they beat Chelsea, that was the only chance they could win it. But to me, I don't see them as a team. They're just not gelling. And I think there's been a bit of a fallout between some of the players and Simeone the past few weeks. They're not been performing well in La Liga. And I think there's going to be questions in the Champions League if they can push into the next level to get into beyond the last 16. But, anything could happen. But I think Simeone is just exceeded the squad. The tactics, they're getting found out so easily now, Atletico Madrid. I think teams know how to play them. So that's where I think you need to be. That's where Simeone needs to be careful. But I just don't see it as my dark horses for the title, to be quite honest with you.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a great call there. But yeah, that's what possibly you'll say based on the momentum that has possibly been missing in Atletico Madrid, and rightly put. And yes, TFFT is asking about Gerrard. We will certainly come to that. Anway is in the house and he's a Liverpool fan, and we'll get some reaction there for sure. So stick on till the end, like I'm saying. But I think, yeah, talking about Anway, Liverpool, I'm kind of forced to do this. It's something that is a fact as well. We have to definitely give them the kudos. So I think, yeah, Liverpool definitely deserves this, because what Liverpool have done, I know it was AC Milan who were kind of not as experienced in the Champions League, but still Liverpool had almost a B team, and still they did what they did against AC Milan. So again, they kind of receive all the plaudits. But Anway, I think you've been waiting for maybe the AFCON, maybe people saying that maybe AFCON will affect Liverpool a lot compared to other teams. Are you like one of those who's kind of waiting for AFCON to get over and then prove everyone wrong? As what's your gut saying that come February, you will still be there with all the league and the Champions League?
AFCON's only the worst part because you see Liverpool and you have Mane and Salah, and that's going to be a big blow for us. But coming before AFCON, I think we should just continue to stay consistent, and yeah, let's see what happens in the AFCON time because that'll be definitely completely unpredictable. So we really have to work our way around that.
Yeah, and for me, definitely, as in Liverpool are in a shout, as in they are possibly talking about dark horses, as no one expected Liverpool to kind of be in this form come, this time of, the year. But yeah, then let's see what happens because injuries are a big kind of, having a say as well. But moving on to Group C, I think Group C possibly a surprise because Ajax, again, no one expected them to top the group the way they did. Uh, Fantastic performance again. Like I have to say, like again, being a Dutch supporter internationally, Ajax is something that I like watching. But what they had a great win against Sporting, who also were not bad actually in this group, and Haller scoring again. Anthony, who came on, he looks good as well. He had a good game. Ameya, so I don't know, Ameya. Ajax, I know, is one of the teams along with Real Madrid, Lille, and of course the big one, Bayern Munich, that we could face. But do you fancy Ajax?
Yeah, I think so. I think the way that they've been playing this season under Ten Hag has been absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I was seeing the Eredivisie stats, and I mean, they're just scoring for fun and barely conceding. I think they've lost just one game the entire season. I mean, it's a close title race, I know, with Feyenoord and PSV, I think, if I'm not wrong. But I mean, the way Ajax have been playing this season, Eric Ten Hag has always been highly rated, but I think this season he's just stepped up to a level. I think by now he's basically inviting the top offers at this point. I mean, earlier he showed that I am capable and I do have a pretty good tactical know, but then now this season he's showing that he can deliver on the highest stage as well. So I think some pretty impressive results there, like you mentioned, in the group stage as well. So let's see how far they can go. I mean, can they better the semi-final run with which they went under a couple of seasons ago? We never know, but I'm hoping we don't face them. I mean, of course, as Chelsea fans, I hope that Lille is the team that we draw. Although with
I
all
think the
respect to
defense is
Lille,
still weak, right? I would just put the defense as something that can be targeted, and
yeah,
hopefully, if in case we draw Ajax, like again, it's ifs and buts right now because the
yeah.
draw is on Monday, and let's see, as like for me, if we can get our defense right again, which is something of a Chelsea DNA. I don't know why it's kind of gone so wrong, but again, that's something that is our strong point. So that'll be possibly a great matchup, and we've had that great match against Ajax. We all remember a couple of years ago, and again Ziyech was in the opposition then. But yeah, that's something that will be great, for me. As in Liverpool, PSG, Ajax, Chelsea, those are like really two tasty ties for me. Like just putting it out there, wishful thinking, like you say, right? As in, again, but I think the other team, I think maybe Carl, I'll put it to you, and maybe the chat as well. Like Dortmund, like really, kind of disappointing, but they've had a great win finally. I know it was Besiktas, and Haaland, I know, came as a sub, scored a couple of goals. But Carl, like honestly speaking, I know that maybe he was auditioning, and that's why he gave in those last 10 minutes, and he really did well. And just adding on to his Champions League tally, which he'll be missing because of them going to Europa League. But what is your gut feel, Carl? Like as a neutral, like where do you see Haaland kind of landing up with all this kind of family background and whatnot? I think agent issue is also there, right?
It's a tough one with Haaland because other than before that, but I think with Dortmund altogether, I think it's been disappointing for them because they should have done well in the Champions League, and it's disappointing that they finished third and they're going to the Europa League, but they expected better than that. And I think after what happened last season in the Bundesliga, where they just falled off completely and nearly missed out on the Champions League. But for Haaland, especially with him, where he goes, it's going to be interesting because I think deep down, listen, he could. I think he will either. I think he will. It will between City, Man City, Manchester United, and maybe Chelsea a bit because the situation with Chelsea, if they don't get Lukaku firing, I think they will look for another striker. But I think he will be more Man United suited. But it depends how long they keep Cristiano Ronaldo for. So I don't know. It's a hard one. But you never know. He might go to Real Madrid because Real Madrid do need the number 9 to replace, Karim Benzema, who's been in the form of his life. So at some point, that he have to make a really interesting decision with his release clause that's going to be coming in start next summer.
Yes, yes. As in, again, like I won't mind him coming to Chelsea, but again, there are a lot of kind of complications in this deal. Like that's always been the case, throughout last couple of summers, and that's something that's a really interesting kind of question. But yes, Dortmund kind of come up the trumps. It's about them thinking about Bundesliga now. I don't know how they're going to make it so competing because yes, they did well at the weekend against Bayern Munich, but overall they're not as consistent for sure, right? And that's something missing. But I think you mentioned about Real Madrid, so yeah, let's talk about that quickly. Again, moving on to the next group, and where it was Real Madrid, obviously against Inter Milan. Again, a touch of naivety on Inter Milan's part. Barella, especially that red card. I think too many red cards that we had on match day 6. Despite some being inconsequential games, I don't know. It just kind of came out. I don't know how, but I think it was Militao who kind of ignited that fire in Barella, and Barella just went with that punch. But Inter Milan have been disappointing. I have to say that I know that they are qualifying as second, place team in this group, but Real Madrid, they are just about coming to form, both in the league as well as the Champions League. So Anway, I know that last season also we've taken a look, them playing against Chelsea. For you, Anway, are they at that level that they were playing at Chelsea at that time, or they are even one better now?
I think Madrid with the young talent they have now, Vinicius Junior coming back in this excellent form, there's definitely a threat. And they beat us last season in the Champions League. If I'm pretty sure you all know, but this season they look way more lethal. They look dangerous. Both Vinicius Junior and Asensio slowly coming back in form. Madrid will be a threat. There'll be some team you have to look out for. And if you really want, I mean, I think Madrid haven't been getting the amount of appraisal and the shouts to actually be title contenders when you talk about the Champions League. But for me, they're definitely the dark horses.
Yeah, as in again, it depends on the transfers as well that they have, and again, like I think Stripbear mentions again, big up to Stripbear for joining. Milan can die slowly. Hopefully they'll come up. Like again, I am kind of a Milan fan, so hopefully they will come up the ranks. It's about them kind of gaining the experience of players, and of course the transfer window, like I mentioned, is calling the shots these days. But I think one team we all would agree. I think I'm sure like not even a single person would disagree with this. But there's certainly one team in this particular group which deserves a lot of. Anyone's guess which team is it? It's got to be Sheriff, right? As in them qualifying for that Europa League spot itself and getting a point on the last day against Shakhtar, who themselves are a good team. I think Sheriff kind of deserves the plaudits in this group. No one expected that. Yes. So moving on to the next group, I think it was obviously the big group, and that's where we are talking about one of the teams which kind of really disappointed this Champions League, and that's Barcelona. I think it's clear for everyone to see. Ameya, I'll come to you on this. I know that there are Barca fans in the chat. Again, no pun intended. Absolutely no pun intended. But in terms of Barcelona, when do you think Barcelona is going to return to Champions League? Just your gut, going by what things are going on.
I mean, do you mean like qualify or like, one of the favorites to win?
No, as in whenever they'll return to Champions League. I think that's a question in itself, right? Don't you think so? Considering how they are doing in La Liga and everything, right? Do you see
Yeah,
them coming back to Champions League as soon as next season, or what do you think?
probably. I'd still back them to
Yeah.
finish in the top 4 in La Liga. But, if you're talking about contending for the title, then I'm pretty sure they're like half a decade away. I don't see that happening anytime soon. And like you said, right, as Chelsea fans, I don't think we're too bothered about that 2009 robbery. I think it still plays in our minds every time I still hear the word Barcelona. So, I mean, for some reason, the players and the fans act very entitled. So I'm very glad to see them being humbled.
And interesting, a lot of opposition fans are kind of content with what's happening at Barcelona, and of course, a lot of big clubs. I think that's something of understanding as well, right? Between kind of rival fans, that's always the case. But Insane Football Talks believes that it's going to be as soon as next season. I actually disagree with both of you, to be honest. I actually feel that it'll take a couple of seasons. They might just miss out on it. But again, people might think that they might win Europa League and come back. I don't see them even winning Europa League, to be very honest. And yes, as we say that, we have Michael Talks Football, a great channel himself. Please follow the channel as well, along with the panel, of course. and Almighty Blues FC. But yes, Michael, congrats, Liverpool, great win. And yes, we did cover that, so did kind of have a chat around it. So I don't want to kind of speak too much about it. But I think in terms of Xavi, I think Xavi came. No one's going to expect him to kind of uproot trees. Hopefully, they'll give him the time that Barca needs. I think for Xavi getting to Europa League, I think it's a blessing in disguise. And I think you know what, how Xavi will react getting into the Europa League. This is how Xavi will react, in my opinion. Come on, at least something there is to celebrate. At least they have a Europa League. As in, talk about Milan. Me being a Milan fan those years ago, Milan have got nothing. Literally nothing. So I think for me there is a positive, and I know Barcelona history is talked about. Milan have a great history in themselves. There is a time that you go through. Manchester United. I know Krishna is in the chat, and he's a Manchester United fan along with a couple others. They are going through a massive kind of a struggle for the last few years, and now hopefully they'll come up the ranks. And that's how cycle of football goes, right? And here I don't know, they're talking about basically, I think, couple of comments that we'll take. Paying referee before a match is not Barcelona the Picasso of it. Well, no comments. Honestly speaking, yeah, there are a lot of calls there, but again, they do have the players. Like, come on, I can understand about them getting Ballon d'Ors and maybe the Copa Trophy and so all because of that, but maybe not results. They do have a lot of talent. I certainly go with that. But yes, Barca fans need to be patient. Barca will make max quarter finals in the Europa League. Wow, interesting. And they are going to win Europa League. Literally, Leipzig can thrash them. I actually agree with this. Leipzig, in my opinion, has a great team if they kind of click. And of course, with the manager gone now, they might just kind of take it as a positive note. But quickly moving on, of course, talking about Manchester United. Well, I don't know. Like Manchester United, uh, it was inconsequential, right? Their game. So really, I know that they drew the game, and of course, great goal by Greenwood. I think he's a talent for the future for sure. But I don't know. Again, Krishna, others in the chat who follow the match, did Manchester United do something majorly different? I did not get a chance to follow that match as closely because of it being inconsequential, honestly speaking. But yes, if you have some data from that particular game, please do comment. But the other game, obviously, as we are streaming, the other game is going to happen. So right now we have no data about that game, and that will be interesting. Atlanta and Villarreal, because of obviously the snowstorm. So that's something that is still pending. So we'll come back to that. But quickly in Group G, we'll have to give just a shout out. Great achievement, I think, by Salzburg to qualify. Salzburg did great, and of course Lille, uh, whom I am expecting or hoping rather to face as Chelsea in the next round. Again, people might think that we are kind of wanting an easier team. Come on, let's be honest. It's all about basically playing it smart. And in the Champions League, everyone knows that there is an element of luck. Yes, we have to beat all the best teams, but like I said in the preview as well, like we have to make sure that whatever team we get, we put out a best 11, and that's a mistake that Tuchel made. And hopefully, if we are getting a slightly weaker team, that will balance out things again. That's just me speaking. And I think a lot of Champions League talk there. And as I say that, obviously, I have Sportswire in the house. Big up to Vijay, of course, great channel himself as well. And Shubha says 17 billion selling oil shares. I don't know. You're referring to, I think, Barcelona, possibly. I don't know. Or is it PSG? I don't know. Let's move on because, yes, a lot of Champions League talk because we are actually going to be looking forward to the weekend, and we have a huge weekend coming up. Yes, games are coming left, right, and center. And this is a time when we need to basically speak about the main game because this is a historic tie in itself. Like trust me, this tie is really historic. Back in the day, as in the crowd, I'm sure like Carl will add to it, but in terms of Chelsea versus Leeds, this is some kind of a tie which really got the rivalry going. Like in terms of basically real fights that you saw, is what Chelsea Leeds was one of the highest kind of as in most watched game, I would say, back in the day, right? But again, over the years, it has been missing. Last year itself was great. Even in the COVID situation, we saw that game, great game at that. I think it was what 3-1 that we beat obviously Leeds. This year it was 0-0. So it was very interesting, of course, with our man Patrick Bamford being there, and we'll get to the team news and all. But in terms of just basically, let's cover what is it, the head to heads, right? In terms of head to heads, let's actually do a quick trivia. What do you say? As in trivia will be kind of fun. I'm sure Ameya has kind of been through it earlier as well. So again, this is just for fun, and everyone in the chat, I would love for all of you to also participate. Carl loves the trivia, I know that, and of course, Anway knows the stuff as well. So let me put it out there. Maybe Anway, I'll start with you. So it is Chelsea versus Leeds. In terms of history, like I built it up, right? Definitely, there's a lot of history to it. Yes, recent years have not been kind of very frequent these games, but in history, I think we've played them 26 times. And then I say we, obviously, it's Chelsea. But in 26 matches, there have been what? I think 9 draws. And out of the remaining 17, can you guess how many times Leeds has beaten Chelsea in 17 matches? And anyone in the chat can also comment. It is basically a historical question, but just take a punt.
I don't know. I mean, I guess around 5. Does 5 seem enough?
Okay, five. Interesting. Carl, do you have an idea?
It's a tough one because I know we had a lot of wins against Chelsea. I will say that's a tough one. I'm probably going to say at least 10.
Oh wow, Carl is definitely a confident one at that. Come on, like 10 is a bit too much, I would say. But yeah, it's close actually. It's close. Like I would give it to Carl because you know what, Leeds has actually beaten us on 8 occasions, 9 draws, and Chelsea has beaten Leeds on 9 occasions. So it's literally neck to neck. And the only odd one out is Leeds not winning on 9. So I don't know. Like again, I might be jinxing it. Will this be the ninth for Leeds? Carl will say yes, and I will say no. Hopefully not. But in those 9 occasions, interestingly, like the most recent ties at home, because this game is going to be in Stamford Bridge on Saturday, and this game that is a home fixture for Chelsea against Leeds, we have beaten Leeds on 4 consecutive occasions. The last time we met them in Stamford Bridge, in the Premier League, of course, right? But in history, we have never beaten them on 5 consecutive occasions. Again, Carl will be happy listening to these kind of stats, and that's something of I think of note, right? For sure, at least gives the confidence. But like I said, in recent games, it's been Chelsea which has been dominant. So hopefully, we'll kind of continue that. I think another quick question that I would like to put out is basically in terms of basically, let's put it to Carl actually. So again, people in the chat do pitch in. I see a few answers here, and of course, Insane Football Talks got it right for the first question. The second question is Carl. Now, I think Leeds have played in London. I think in all competitions 32 times, right? They've gone away to London 32 times. How many wins have they got in 32?
We've not had a lot. I think it was at least 5 or 6. We didn't win. We didn't win in London. We struggled. Yeah.
Interesting. Anyone in the chat or in the panel as well knows that basically. So Leeds have basically traveled to London 32 times across competitions, but have just won twice. They have just won twice. Again, that's a Chelsea thing, right? I mean, I'm kind of hoping that it's Chelsea, and definitely Chelsea is something that would be hoping that will continue as well. And in fact, the last, I think, 2 times that they got the lead at London, out of the last 3 occasions, they went on to lose the game. So does that mean Chelsea should possibly concede early and hope that they lose again? That's a trend. But this was something really interesting for me. But talking about another stat here, this is about this season. Let's not go back to history too much. But again, yeah, Insane Football Talk says Stamford supremacy. Absolutely. Like, that is something that we need to continue. But with Leeds, the rival that they are, trust me, like it's not going to be easy. This is about this season. In this season, I'll put it to Ameya, or again in the chat as well. Now, there are basically a couple of teams who've got the maximum amount of goals in the 90th minute this season. Do you know which 2 teams they are? And I can give you a hint. They are 2 out of the 3 teams that the panel is representing.
Well, would it be Leeds and Liverpool? Because I don't remember us scoring any late goals.
Interesting. I don't know. Let's see. As in, just Viola believes that they won't make it 3 on Saturday. Yes, hopefully that. But again, yes, the answer to this question is actually Leeds and Chelsea. So
Oh,
Chelsea
okay.
actually scored in the 90th minute on 3 occasions, and so did Leeds in this Premier League already. But maybe we don't remember Ameya, and even that was a surprise for me when I read that. The fact is that Chelsea's goals were not as consequential compared to Leeds
Yeah.
because we kind of added on to our Leeds.
Hmm.
When I say Leeds, it's Leads, as in just a word play, but Leeds, as in I have to give you that, Carl. You basically, got those 90 minute, I think, couple of winners and one equalizer. So just about staying up. But talking about goals, one man who's been the man of Leeds, I think, this particular season, right? And the player for Leeds has been Rafinha. Like, I hope Akal will agree there, right? Rafinha has been the player for Leeds. I think Rafinha has been saving Leeds, like literally saving Leeds. And there's no secret, Rafinha is the top goal scorer for Leeds this particular season. But again, Carl or anyone in the chat, do you know what percentage of goals has actually Rafinha scored for Leeds? That is.
I'll say more open play than free kicks.
Overall,
Yeah.
like basically, say for example, if Leeds have scored totally 10 goals, how many has Rafinha scored? So
I think
if he
Rafinha
scored
scored
two, 25.
at least six.
Six, and totally Leeds have scored 15 goals, right? So actually, you are bang on. Yes, he has scored six. That's 40% of the goals. Yes, he has scored 40% of Leeds goals. Like he's doing what Eden Hazard used to do for Chelsea. Mo Salah is doing for Liverpool. I know I'm kind of being disrespectful to the Liverpool team, Anway, but fact is that yes, I think yes, it's 40%. Insane football talks. But yeah, 6 goals, 40%. If I'm getting my maths right, again, do correct me if I'm incorrect. But yeah, I think that is of a great start. But I'll put a question here to everyone now. Now, this is basically getting points. Now, Rafinha has got a lot of points for Leeds, but in the Premier League, which is that one player this season who has got the highest number of points for his club? With his goals, of course.
I think it's Bernardo Silva. I think I saw it on my Instagram feed as well.
Bernardo Silva, nice guess, nice guess. Let me actually wait for that. But any other guesses? Like who has been the player who's got the highest number of points for his team directly in terms of goals, which has mattered?
I'm going to say Mo Salah because I think he's probably been scoring a lot more lately.
Mo Salah. Okay, interesting. Okay, let me see in the comments. Is there any guesses there? No, no guesses. Okay, this was actually very interesting because I did not expect this. Even I thought it would have been Mo Salah or Bernardo Silva, as in possibly the players of the season. But the goals that matter, as in the most. So Rafinha is only second, by the way. Rafinha is second in the whole of the Premier League, the amount of points that he's won Leeds. And the Loudmouth Show is in the house. Big up to the Loudmouth Show. Mo Salah, no incorrect. It is Jamie Vardy for Leicester City. We all thought this guy. I think Carl, you're on mute, but yeah, then definitely, as in we thought that.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised because Leicester's not been do well this season, but
absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely, and that was the whole point about discussing this. But yeah, that was hopefully interesting. I don't know a lot of trivia there. Hopefully, you guys got to know something about that you didn't know. That I certainly did. And again, everyone there in the chat who's joined, just joined, please do smash the like button. And of course, we need more people. So if you can share the stream, that'll be great because we will be getting into details about the Chelsea Leeds game. So yes, talking about the game in itself, right? As in the form, for sure. I think it's Chelsea. I would say slightly in better form, although it's pathetic. Like even Chelsea's form in recent times, I think what five we've just won two, we have drawn two and lost one. Of course, that West Ham United loss, we don't want to remember too much about it. But Leeds, on the other hand, you've just won one game, but lost one as well. So Leeds are turning into these draw merchants all of a sudden. Like Bielsa turning into a draw merchant, that was unthinkable last season. So Carl, I don't know. Like, what do you think Carl is missing this season? Like overall.
To be honest, it's more about this squad. It's not just about the squad depth and the injury to our key players at the moment. And I think because last year we didn't get a lot of draws. We never did. I think it was one of the few teams that I think we didn't get a draw away from home or so forth. But this season's been a bit of a draw, an issue. I think we just be short on the players because our substitutes bench is not have really good players that can make a difference. We have youngsters at the moment, and to be quite honest with you, I have been a little bit worried about our squad depth. I know we've been fine with that for the last few years, but now people catching us up. We just thought we got Patrick Bamford coming back from injury. Now we're hearing the bad news about Calvin Phillips, who's got a hamstring injury. He might be out till January or somewhat. And so is our captain, Lee Cooper. So we just go for another a mess. And Rodrigo's also injured again. And that was the news I got today as well. So it's just been injury after injury to our key players. We thought we were getting back slowly, but we're now just getting injuries again.
Yeah, definitely. As in you covered the injuries there, and that's well. I think apart from that, if I'm not wrong, even Robin Koch, I think that's how you pronounce it. Even he's been ill, so he may not feature as well. And Cooper also, I think, if I'm not wrong, he had a slight hamstring problem
As well.
in the Brentford game that they drew, right? As in, it'll be interesting what kind of lineup Leeds come up with. I think let's quickly actually take a look, or rather, let's quickly cover the Chelsea team news as well. In terms of team news, I know the presser at the time of speaking, we don't have the presser news still, but I think Ameya, if I'm not wrong, Kante surely will not start, even if he's, say, for example, like if he's miraculously recovering, and same with Chaloba. I don't see them starting, and possibly I think Kovacic will be out for another 10 days or so because of the COVID issue. And I think Chilwell, we all know, at least until Jan and possibly he's out. So that kind of again picks the team by itself. I know the Champions League travel, things were there in place, and I don't know if it's enough, but there might be some key players rested. I'll try and share my screen because I actually have put up a lineup that I feel that Chelsea possibly will be better off going with. Let me just try and share it. I don't know if you're able to see it. Yeah. So this is what I feel, Ameya, because like for me, it'll be a 3-5-2. Again, people in the chat do comment. What do you think about this lineup? Every position that is of Chelsea. For me, Ameya, quickly just explain myself. For me, Mount, the mistake in that Champions League game was that our midfielders were not protected enough, and same with our wing backs, and that's not something that they were used to. Reece James and Barkley. Here again, Jorginho is coming back from an injury. I don't know if he'll really be fit. I'm hoping that he'll probably recover in time, and Loftus-Cheek as well. Like I know that they were on the bench, but there were kind of rumor that Loftus-Cheek had a slight issue as well, and he was kind of feeling some kind of discomfort, and that's why he didn't start that game. Alonso, James, again, I think everyone kind of requires some kind of a backup plan, so as to speak, in midfield. So Mount might be that person, and Timo Werner just coming to form, possibly just continue that, right? Ameya, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I more or less agree with your lineup, right? And we obviously have to see Loftus-Cheek's fitness issues because apparently he got injured in the pre-match warm-up, which is why Reece James had to step into midfield for the game. So I think we're going to have to see whether Reece James is fit. If Ruben Loftus-Cheek is fit enough to play this game as well, whether Jorginho is fit enough to play this game as well. I mean, of course, Jorginho was rested, right? He didn't make the trip to Russia, so hopefully he is rested and fine. But apart from that, we do have a lot of notable absentees. But I think, we have to continue the Werner-Lukaku partnership for sure. I think there are a lot of other players. I think Ziyech has actually been really impressing me off late, coming off the bench. So I think he could be in with a shout. Maybe Hudson-Odoi once again in attack as well. But he didn't really look himself in the wing-back role. So there are a lot of possibilities, but I'm just really scared about Alonso, if I'm being honest. I know that he sometimes gets a lot of unnecessary flack from our fan base, but especially with the fast-paced football that Leeds play, I just don't see Alonso tracking back. So I think that could be an area where Leeds could exploit us, especially with Rafinha playing on that side as well, right? So I think I'm scared, if I'm being very honest. And considering how Leeds season has gone so far, like Carl summed it up perfectly earlier. I mean, there have been a lot of issues and all of that stuff. Yes, so they were actually one of the teams I thought would be an outside shout to break into the top 7 for this season, but unfortunately that hasn't got to plan. So a lot of factors to consider, but I'm not confident heading into this game, unfortunately, with the personnel that we have.
Let's see. I'm kind of wanting to be positive, but again, I think Mendy, I think being informed makes a huge difference. Like him having that commanding ability, hopefully he'll be in the right frame of mind, and he'll probably can't get back to it because let's be honest, like he's been one of the best goalkeepers there is, but that last couple of mistakes that he made was something that totally not many like, right? That's something that's why I would like to see him. And I think just Viola talks about Christensen ahead of Aspi. For me, again, I did cover in the review. For people who missed it, do check it out, because the reason why Aspi is not looking his part is because of the reason that he's not playing enough. Aspi is not the kind of player who can come a game and just perform. Like he has been always been that player who kind of plays week in week out, and he's that player for me who needs that kind of momentum. He's that he's got a rugged attitude. For him to just come and just perform, he's not that kind of player. So again, Christensen didn't have a great game. Like he gave a lot of space, I think, to the Zenit player. So I think that might be reason enough for me. But that's interesting because I think Ameya, you touch upon a very interesting point about as an our left flank. So Carl, I know Anway, you're waiting, but I would like to quickly take a point from Carl, because Carl, for you, what would be the key in this game? Like, what do you think apart from Rafinha, which is the obvious? Where is it that you can open up Chelsea, looking at Chelsea and looking at your own team?
It's a good question, actually. It really is. It's kind of it's a hard one for me because other than Rafinha, I don't know where our strong point is going to be for Chelsea's weakness. I don't know. It's a hard one because we don't have Calvin Phillips, who's going to be in that central defence midfielder. It's not there. But I think I would say it's probably may look at the central midfield where Adam Forshaw, who's come back from his injury after being nearly 2 years away from the game. He looks like a new signing, and he has been a bit of a difference, when he's been playing in that role, in that central midfield role. So I think for that, that's where I think Chelsea could, Forshaw could try to break down Chelsea's midfield part if he can always keep an eye, make sure he keeps Chelsea from pressing up, attacking.
Yeah, that's I think a fair call. Again, I'll just try and share the Leeds 11 that was actually playing in the last game against Brentford. I know, like you mentioned, Carl, there are injuries that we already covered, but what are the changes that you see from this 11? Like in terms of the setup, I'm assuming you'll probably match the setup, but what are the personnel changes that you see in the 11?
I will see that the changes will be Forshaw will play as the central midfielder, or there you see Matej Klich coming replacing Phillips. Pascal Struijk will be in the central back three along with Liam Cooper. Up front, I think there's not going to be much change up that one. I think that's where it is, but I think it's going to be least changes in the midfield and the back three. That's all I can see with that one. I think we'll still keep the rest of the team will roughly be the same, but I think this will be key changes.
Okay, I think that's something that I think possibly Leeds can go with. Again, Leeds are very flexible. They've been there in the last season. But anyway, I know Liverpool beat them quite convincingly. I think it was 3-0 at it was at home, if I'm not wrong. And anyway, as in I know that was a while back, but just like as a neutral, like in the conversation, anyway, do you see Leeds really kind of getting back the momentum? And because I think probably 2 weeks prior to this, you asked me, I would have said Leeds are actually in danger. Like honestly speaking, again, Carl, no offense, but that's just speaking as a neutral. But anyway, looking at Leeds' performance against Liverpool and just the season throughout, like, are you convinced Leeds have enough in them to kind of stay up?
So when you say stay up, I'm not quite sure. But coming to the Chelsea game, it's definitely going to be a hard one for them. But at the same time, I hate to say it, but Chelsea also aren't in their top form, in the form that every other team was scared to play against them. But Carl, you might correct me, but I saw Patrick Bamford playing last game. Will he be featuring in this game as well, or is he still out with his muscle injuries?
I think he'll still feature in the game, but I think he'll be on the bench again. I think Bielsa's not going to rush Bamford back in the starting 11. I think Tyler Roberts has justified himself after the last few weeks of we did criticize him. He should leave the club, go and leave alone in January. But I think he's justified the last few games, how bad it is. I think Bielsa does not chop and change, doesn't like to do that, but I think he'll stick with Tyler Roberts up front.
Wow, that's actually an interesting call, because I think if Patrick Bamford is close to fit, as in he scored the goal against Chelsea, and again being an ex-Chelsea man, I would assume coming to Stamford Bridge he would love to start, but again it's not in his hands, like you said. Like Bielsa, I don't know. I think Roberts, let's be honest, like he's kind of improving game by game, hopefully for Leeds, that is. But yeah, then definitely, then so yeah, we are actually getting a few predictions. So we'll get to that. I think Shubhir says 3-0. Well, I don't think it's going to be so easy. Just Fella agrees, but let's see. And then again, let's go through the predictions quickly around the table. So Ameya, now what do you reckon will happen this game?
I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I haven't jinxed it, but I think it's going to be a repeat of last season. I think Chelsea's going to win by 3 goals to 1.
Wow, that's actually something that will kind of mirror what we actually did last season, like you said. But let's see if lightning kind of strikes twice. But Anway, what's your call?
I want Leeds to win this. I hope Leeds win 2-1.
Come on, Carl.
You put me on the spot here now because
Just wear the hat. Come on, you have to basically wear.
I
The
know,
hat. You can't be biased.
I know. Listen, I have to say Leeds will have to win 2-1 because that's the only way I can see if Chelsea just have a bad day. But yeah, I'm just gonna be like my dad, not confident and not watching the game until after. Yeah, if you get too nervous for me.
Yeah, then the clean sheet is key, like for me. But Leeds, honestly, if you have to ask me about my predictions, again, Chelsea fans, you might hate me. I can actually see a score draw in this. And Carl, you might take that as well for sure. But I can actually see that happening. As in us conceding 3 goals back to back, as in we are falling back to the December trap again. Hoping that I'm wrong. But again, I'm just trying to wear the neutral hat. Going by what momentum Leeds have gained in the last week and a half and what Chelsea has kind of lost. So it's just going with that, and of course the injuries. Of course, Leeds also have injuries. Can't just come up with an excuse. But yes, a lot of talk there about Chelsea Leeds, and of course we are coming to the other games as people in the chat have been waiting as well. And I think the big game, like let's be honest, this particular game, apart from this particular weekend, apart from Chelsea Leeds, has to be Steven Gerrard. Going back to Anfield. I think it's got to be the special weekend for Gerrard at the Cop end. So, Anway, as a matter of fact, as in no secrets, I think we all know that Gerrard will get a special kind of welcome at Anfield. There's no two ways about it. As in the legend that he is, and let's be honest, like he's one of the best midfielders that the Premier League has seen. Not to achieve as much success, I must kind of highlight that in the Premier League. But yeah, Anway, do you think if Liverpool concede, that is the Aston Villa score, Gerrard will celebrate?
I mean, he will celebrate. Come on, man. I mean, he's an ex-Liverpool player, but at the same time, he's a
No,
manager
he's
for
not just
us.
a player. He kind of defined. He was possibly what Totti was for Roma. Like honestly speaking.
No, I don't. I mean, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think he'll celebrate because that'll really get the fans riled up. But he will be happy. But at the same time, he'll. I mean, I honestly don't know what to expect because there'll be so many emotions playing. But yeah, the
Yeah,
atmosphere at Anfield will
it's an
definitely
interesting
be.
question because I think maybe I can relate it. As a Chelsea fan, we saw Terry being in the dugout. Ameya would remember that, right? As an Aston Villa scored against us last season, Terry did not celebrate. I know he wasn't the main manager, so to speak, but I think that kind of calls itself. But it'll be interesting. Like, I actually want to see that happen. Of course, I want Liverpool to lose. No two ways about it. But I think Gerrard has been fantastic. Like again. Hats off, kudos to Gerrard there. But Anwar, just checking on to you. What do you think Gerrard has brought different, to Aston Villa? What Dean Smith did not bring, as in just as a neutral.
Oh, talking about Gerrard, even if you saw him in the Scottish Premiership, he was a manager who was able to connect with the players because he was an ex-player himself. So he has that connect with the players, and he is able to adapt to the game because he knows everything that's happening on the pitch. So he's tactically gifted, and I think he's able to play out the game very well.
Yeah. Again, it might be the new manager bounced, and that's something that possibly we'll get to know this weekend because it'll be the litmus test, as I say, playing against his old club at basically Anfield, and that'll be great. And again, I think yeah, now that we have got into basically a preview of another game, that is obviously the Aston Villa versus Liverpool, or rather Liverpool versus Aston Villa game. Quick kind of chat, but again, I would throw out questions here. So, Ameya, Carl, are you ready for a couple of questions again? Come on, this time we've got to have a winner, right? A clear winner. Let's see who kind of wins it. And again, people in the chat, do participate because yeah, this is really interesting for me. So I'll throw at Carl, the first one, right? So Carl, Liverpool actually have had what 16 times that they've had an ex-player come back to Liverpool, manage with a different team. But in those 16 occasions, they have lost 14 times. The manager has actually lost 14 times, right? So only twice it has been that the manager visiting, who was an ex-Liverpool player, has gone on to win. But can you tell me who was the most recent one who did that? Ex-Liverpool player who managed the team to Anfield and won.
Good question. That is a tough one.
Again,
Oh,
no kind of brownie points, but definitely, there is a banter war going on here. So, anyone in the chat, let's see if anyone is getting it. Again, there are just two managers who are ex Liverpool players, and it is, I would say, a little bit of a historical question, but this guy is quite popular, I would say.
I would say one of them is Kenny Dalglish. It's one of them. I can't think of the other, but I know one of them is Kenny
Okay,
Dalglish.
let me give you a hint, right? Again, anyone in the panel or the chat can also answer now. It's basically you mentioned Kenny Dalglish, but yeah, even his name starts with K. In fact, it's KK.
Kevin Keegan, isn't it? Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know Carl knows his stuff, right? I mean, definitely. I think yeah, Kevin Keegan with Manchester City. It's been a while, yeah, but it was I think back in what 2004 season, if I remember right. Again, might be wrong
Yeah,
there.
well,
People in the chat do comment if you think the exact answer, but it was Kevin Keegan. Crossing that, right? And again, now it is basically Liverpool Aston Villa, or let's talk about Aston Villa versus Liverpool in general, right? This matchup. Now, Liverpool versus Aston Villa or Aston Villa versus Liverpool has had the second highest number of what do you say, the away team winning. So 20 times the away team has actually won, right? Now, this was interesting for me, but I'll probably possibly come to Ameya. Ameya, now, which is that particular matchup, apart from Liverpool Aston Villa, which has been the case where the away team has won on 21 occasions, which is the highest.
But
Again,
that's
the reason
okay.
I'm asking that is because it's actually a derby, as in obviously in derbies, home away sometimes don't matter, right? I think you can say that. So it's actually a popular derby
Well,
where the away team.
Is it the North London derby? Possibly. I don't know.
Uh, And would your guess be Arsenal winning or Spurs winning? Again, I know Eugene is in the chat. I know Luca if he's there yet or not, but it's an interesting answer. I would definitely give it a thumbs up, but not the right answer. But anyone else knows? It's a very popular derby.
I would have said Manchester Derby.
It is. It is. Carl, you're on a roll, man. And then Carl is getting it right every question. Come on. Nice guess, I would say. I would assume like it was a calculated guess, but definitely it's got to be the Manchester Derby. But any guesses who's that away team? And then Manchester United is that away team who has won more. But in terms of obviously the history, but yes, it is the Manchester Derby, which was interesting for me. But in terms of Liverpool now, Anway, Liverpool are chasing a record. Do you know what kind of record they're chasing in the Premier League this particular game? So it's basically a goal scoring record. So again, the hint can be again before coming into that, and just where says Arsenal. No, it was as I said Manchester. But talking about the record, so Liverpool in the last two games, Anway, what happened in the league? They beat Southampton 4-0 and they beat Arsenal 4-0, right?
Yeah, yes,
So
correct.
it's got to be some kind of a streak that they're going to be achieving, which will be a first for Liverpool ever if they do that, obviously.
So I mean, I'm not quite sure, but because in the middle we scored only one goal against Spurs. So if
No,
it's
I think I'm
something,
talking about the Premier. I'm talking about the Premier League. I think Premier League it was definitely, if I'm not wrong, 4-0 and 4-0 at home. That is at Anfield.
yeah, sorry, around Anfield. I think getting another 4-0 victory with that set a record, I guess.
Absolutely, and that's right. Anwar got it right. So another 4-0 victory. It'll be the first time ever that Liverpool does it at home on three consecutive occasions, and it has never been done in the Premier League. I think the last time it was achieved was in 1987. Liverpool are on the streak, as in I won't be very surprised. But again, imagine Gerrard, losing 4-0. That would be something in itself, right? But yeah, as in a lot of things about the trivia. But coming to the actual game, so Anway, do you have any injury news from Liverpool? Anything in particular?
I mean, I'm pretty sure you all know the basic news that Harvey Elliott has been out for a while, Naby Keita's out as well. So is Joe Gomez, Roberto Firmino, Curtis Jones. And yeah, I think those are the main injuries. And these guys haven't featured much in the squad as well. So I think we'll be sticking to our normal formation, the 4-3-3 that we've been playing for the rest of the season.
Yeah, fair enough. And I think Villa are on a streak themselves, so that will be certainly a good matchup. So yeah, let's get to predictions. Carl, what's your prediction for this game? Liverpool shouldn't
I,
lose. Come on.
I think there's going to be a lot of goals. There's going to be some goals, but I think Liverpool will get this and have to break Gerrard's unbeaten start at Villa. I'm going to say 3-2 to Liverpool.
That'll be interesting and certainly a good watch. And we've got a lot of 3-2s recently, being a Chelsea fan. But again, just saying that. Ameya, what's your call?
I mean, I'm actually more confident about Liverpool. As much as I'd want them to lose, I think they're going to win comfortably. I can see them winning like 3-0 or something. I just don't think, Aston Villa defense will have an answer for Liverpool's attack. I mean, it's just too good at the moment, and especially when they're all on form. I just can't see them. Of course, they did struggle a bit against Wolves. I mean, Wolves defended with their hearts out, but I don't think Aston Villa have it in them. I mean, as much as they're sound defensively, I still think that they've made a couple of errors in the last couple of games. So I wouldn't be too surprised if there are another few errors. And it just takes that one mistake for the floodgates of Liverpool to open. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Liverpool.
And Anway, I would not be surprised if you would go for the win. But what's your scoreline?
We'll definitely win the game, but I think it'll be a tough one. So I'll honestly agree completely with Carl. I see a high scoring game. I think it'll be either 3-1 or 3-2.
Okay, so I think high scores is the order of the day, and I think in the busy Christmas period, I think we kind of expect that as well. Like a lot of mistakes do happen, so hopefully that will be the case. Because as a neutral, I would love this. Gerrard kind of being in the pump, and then again, coming back, winning. And imagine him kind of sliding down the Anfield carpet. That's not going to happen for sure, right? But yeah, then that is about the game. Liverpool versus Aston Villa. And we will be covering a few more games quickly. If you have a few minutes, let's go through the predictions one by one. Again, people in the chat, do get in your comments. The prediction league is up and running. And I see that prediction from Just Vela, and I've noted it down. I think the other games we have a Friday night game as well this time around. It's Brentford versus Watford. So I'll be taking just one prediction from one of the panel. So I'll go to Carl. Brentford Watford seems like a very interesting game on paper. What do you say?
Yeah, very interesting game, but I just think Brentford will turn out. I think hopefully they get Ivan Toney back soon for me to actually test a positive COVID. But they look good against us on Sunday, but I think Brentford will win this 1-0.
Okay, 1-0, a fair call. Like I can see that being a close game. Like I have to kind of go with that as well. Anyone in the chat has any comments there? Because yes, as I said, the prediction league is up and running. It is Brentford, Watford is what we've just commented on. So hopefully we'll get in comments in time. Till that time, we'll get to the second one. Ameya, it is Man City against Wolves. Man City finally lost in the Champions League. Ameya, please tell me Man City will go back to the negative momentum. Is there a chance?
I mean, it's happened off late, hasn't it? I remember Adama Traore absolutely dominating Man City in that at the Etihad, and I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I mean, they defend very well. I mean, to keep such a Liverpool attack quiet for so long was an incredible achievement by them. So, I mean, they can defend, but I just think City on their day, I think they just have too much in the locker for them, honestly. So I'm gonna go for a 2-0 win. I wouldn't say it would be too much of a high scoring affair, but yeah, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for them.
Wolves will be certainly in pain, conceding that last minute goal and Connor Cody, not getting the plaudits, or maybe Jota, people forgetting that miss. Anway, I won't let you forget that. But Anway, coming to you, I think let's cover the Arsenal Southampton game. Like this for me, possibly can be the tie of the weekend. Like honestly, in terms of the game, because Arsenal, they have really lost the momentum, and Southampton, they have Broja, who's kind of looked very bright but have not been scoring enough. So a lot of chances created. You would imagine. Anway, what's your scoreline?
I really hope Broja scores because he's in my FPL team. So I'm hoping it's a 2-0 win for Southampton.
Okay, and as I say that, yeah, I agree with that. But Smayan, Anway the GOAT. I have to agree there definitely. Anway is one of the GOATs. I have to say, along with, of course, Mayan and Krishna at the Front Three podcast, but definitely, he knows his stuff. And that's an interesting match again. Like a lot of goals that we're expecting for the panel. The next one, Manchester United. Now, again, for Rangnick, it'll be interesting. Away game in the Premier League. Uh, Carl, do you see some kind of a surprise? Norwich, I don't know. Norwich is kind of this just about getting to grips, right? Don't you think so that there can be a possible banana skin here?
Listen, for me as a Leeds fan, I don't like my rivals who are. Where I grew up down in England, I live like 30 minutes away from Manchester, something like that. So that is that team, that city. I can't stand the club. I would say for Norwich for this, for I see if Norwich just could win that by United, it'd just be 2-1 for Norwich for me because I can't stand Manchester United.
Interesting. So I think let's be obvious here. Obviously, Norwich is going to win. They're going to basically, rally past Manchester United, which is not going to happen. But it'll be interesting in terms of the tactics. Like I'm actually looking forward to the game for the tactics, and I actually see it being closer than what people think. And I actually see Manchester United just about scraping this win. They were not great. I know they made a lot of changes in that Champions League game, but again, I don't see them, coming to grips so easily under Ragnick. It'll take some time. So maybe a 2-1 away win is what I'm calling. And I think Burnley, West Ham, Anway, I'll probably come to you, Anway. Burnley, West Ham, what do you think? West Ham beating Chelsea, of course. I've been repeating, I don't know why, but yeah. What do you think?
West Ham have been in spectacular form, and I haven't seen Sean Dyke at his best. So yeah, I would go for a West Ham win.
So what? At least by a couple of goals, you think 2-0, 3-0?
Hoping Antonio bags a couple of goals because he's in my team as well. So yeah, I'm going for a 3-0 win for West Ham.
Okay, and I think the last interesting game that we have this particular weekend, Ameya, I'll come to you. This is, I think, Leicester Newcastle. Newcastle supposedly the big boys, of the English Premier League. Not going to happen anytime soon. We know that Leicester under Rodgers, like really been very very disheartening to watch what Leicester has been doing, just as a neutral, right? But what do you reckon? Newcastle after that first win will be able to surprise Leicester?
I mean, it's very possible because Eddie Howe is a manager that I rate really highly. I don't know, for some reason he gets a lot of disrespect, but what he achieved with Bournemouth was incredible. So I would say I'm going to go for a draw. I think it could be a very interesting, entertaining draw because they both have, although, they have the fast, pacey strikers, right? Of course, Leicester have Jamie Vardy, and they also have Daka, who actually did really well against Aston Villa last week. And then, Newcastle have Callum Wilson up front, and they're trying to reignite that, partnership with Ryan Fraser, which he had at Bournemouth. Of course, they also have Saint Maximan. So a lot of good players in there. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw in this one. I think it's going to be an entertaining game.
Okay, lot of goals that we are expecting, and hopefully all of us are right. I think the last one, I'll just take a call. Again, people in chat might comment as well. I think this is possibly Crystal Palace versus Everton is what I'll go for. Benitez just in time has got that team functioning. That last game against Arsenal was a rocking performance. I have to say that was a rocking game in itself. And Crystal Palace, just the wrong time to kind of lose momentum. Hopefully for Gallagher's sake, like he gets back the momentum what he was getting. He's still good, I would say, but this is a really interesting game, and I'm going Crystal Palace to edge Benitez's side 2-1 and Palace to win it at home. Again, thanks for everyone to watch. We've had over an hour of stream here, and of course the panel, can't thank them enough. A great panel at that, and I have to definitely give them the platform. So first, Carl, I'll let you have the platform. Carl, anything that you would like to discuss about the game, Chelsea Leeds, anything about your work, please go ahead, mate.
I think it's more about the Chelsea Leeds game is going to be very interesting. I think these two teams coming on different patches of form, mainly Chelsea losing 3-2 to West Ham was very surprising, and then getting the 3-3 draw against Zenit St. Petersburg last night really surprised me as well. So this is going to be an interesting game of can Bielsa try to make the best? Can Tuchel get back Romelu Lukaku scoring in the fire again, and from because he's been out of his injury, and get him playing the right way. So yeah, that's going to be one of the interesting things I will this weekend is the Chelsea Leeds game.
Yeah, I think that is basically the talk of the town. And Chelsea Leeds play definitely. There is something going to happen. It's not going to be one of the normal games for sure. Ameya, over to you. Of course, before that, Carl, his socials are below, and everyone in the panel, their socials are below. Do follow them. And Carl himself is part of a pod. Definitely give it a listen as well. And Ameya, please go ahead and feel free to plug in and anything else that you would like to share.
Yeah, I think, first of all, thanks for having me on. I mean, it's always a good time. I've been here before as well, and hopefully it will continue a lot into the future. But yeah, I mean, looking forward to the game. Fingers crossed that we, are able to get the win this weekend. We've been in such horrible form of late. So, I mean, I don't want it to ruin my weekend. So I'm hoping we get a good result and get back to winning ways. I'm sorry to Carl for that, but each to his own. But yeah, I mean, I had a great chat. Thanks a lot for having me on, Anvay and Carl as well. Nice talking to you. And of course, my ad is actually here in my name as well. But and also, I do co-host the channel CFC Chats along with Matt. So yeah, I think if you guys did like what I had to say today, then you guys can check us out and hit the subscribe button, because we will be previewing the Chelsea Leeds game tomorrow as well in a live stream.
Fantastic, fantastic. And the link, as always, is below CFC Chats. And it is one of the feature channels on Almighty Blues FC for a particular reason. And, we would highly recommend CFC Chats, as is Front 3 Podcast. Again, another feature channel on Almighty Blues FC. And of course, thanks again to Ameya and Anvay as well. Anvay, over to you. Please go ahead and tell us about basically Front 3 Podcast and anything that you would like to share about, this weekend.
So yeah, man. So my name is Anwar to the viewers. I have two other friends of mine. We run a football podcast, and yeah, we haven't been too consistent lately, but yeah, we'll be posting more episodes soon. And yeah, that's about it. Thanks for having me on, Ankit. I had a great time, and this panel was lovely.
Same here. Honestly, it's our pleasure to have you, and of course, Carl, hoping to see you again as well, and hoping that we don't kind of see you after a Chelsea loss. But yeah, then again, all the best, and let's hope for a great game. And anyway, spectacular kind of environment that you can expect at Anfield. So enjoy the game. And Ameya, brother, as Chelsea fans, you know how it feels, right? As in this particular week has not been good. We just want something positive. And let's end on that. And again, everyone in the chat, thanks for watching. Do consider sharing the stream, certainly helps. And press that bell notification icon for the next time we are live. And yes, we are live next, I think, on Monday night, Indian Standard Time. And trust me, it's going to be a big panel. You don't want to miss that one. We are going to cover a lot of stuff there. And in between, we will be doing reviews, a couple of trivia shows as well that you will possibly see. So stay tuned for that. And till next time, take care and peace out, everyone.